Services. The Adult Protective Services is a federal organization. Each state has one. And in Indiana, they divided us up into areas. The area I worked with as a volunteer was Marion County and what we call the collar counties, Hendricks, Johnson, Hancock, around there under the auspices of the Marion County prosecutor. And the senior sentinels would go out to groups like this and talk about frauds and scams. The reason we talk to the seniors about scams, very simple, one reason. The reason you and I are the targets of most scammers is we're the people who have money. We've worked hard all our life. We've got our pensions. We've got our savings. Most of us, the kids are out of college. The house is mortgage free. We have disposable income. A lot of bad people want that money, which is why there's so many frauds and scams against seniors. And that's why we get involved with it. So if you have any questions this morning, please don't hesitate to, I'll try and answer them. I don't have all the answers, but I got several. And I've also got some handouts you can take when we leave.
Yeah. So I think command station, visiting the sponsors. And then if you're online and you would like some of the in-person things, some of it we can upload into a Google Drive and send you the link, but like the pamphlets, we may have to pop in the mail. Okay, so we'll open it up for questions in between each one of the panel questions, and then I'll be watching online. So if you've got a question there, remember, just raise your hand or unmute your mic or type it in the chat box. And we've got people watching there. It looks like Sarah also posted the panelist information in the chat box there on Zoom, which is great. And if you're a sponsor here today, feel free to pop your information in the chat box on Zoom too, so that they've got all that. The sponsor's contact information is also in the handout that you have and in the Google Drive for the online folks. So, okay. Okay. So why you, Barney, Barry, you answered the second question, and your answer is actually something I didn't think of. Why are older adults targets of scams and fraud?
We've got the money.
Yeah.
I don't know what it costs to send a kid to college because mine graduated in 88 and 89, but it's expensive. And now that we don't have those expenses, we have disposable income and people want it. That's why you get so many frauds like, Grandma, I'm in trouble. I've been arrested. I need $3,000 to get me out of jail in Toronto, Canada. Hang up. The easiest thing to do, and I know a lot of people do this, get a call at 3 o'clock in the morning. Grandma, I'm in trouble. Don't tell mom and dad, but I need some help. The best thing I know is a woman said, okay, what's your birthday? Well, Grandma, you know my birthday. Yeah, but do you? Click.
Oh, yeah, that's a good rebuttal. Yeah. So I have something to look forward to when my kids finish college, then. Is that what you're saying?
Well, when they're out of college, now with this artificial intelligence, it's spooky. They get a recording, a little bit of your son or daughter's voice or your grandchild's voice. They can now create these phone calls, these fake phone calls, and you think it's them. If you ever get a phone call in the middle of the night from supposedly a nephew, grandson, something like that, says they need money, find out where they are, hang up and call that number or call their home number. because with this artificial intelligence now, you'll swear that's my grandson, Charlie. And I know he's on spring break down in Puerto Vallarta. Now he says he's in jail. So I got to send him $3,000 to Mexico. Forget it. It's a scam. And realize something, please. If you send money out of the United States, you'll never get it back. They can't pursue it. No government agency, and we've got some people here with agree with it. No government agency is ever going to call you by phone and demand money. They will, I don't care if it's county, city, state, federal, whatever. No government agency will ever call you and demand money by phone for one very simple reason. If you don't pay it, they have no proof they notified you. If you ever get a phone call demanding money from a government agency, hang up. Period. It's just that simple.
Okay, ladies, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, excellent point about why seniors may be more targeted. But I want to point out, though, that it's more than just money that they're after. They're also after your personal information. And really, no one is immune to being targeted. We have this risk report. So we have this platform called BBB Scam Tracker, where you can go online, you can look up scams that you may have been approached about. You can report scams, whether you fell or gave money to it or not. And what we do is we take all that information and we compile a list of the riskiest scams from the previous year.
What's it called again?
The Scam Tracker Risk Report.
Okay, and it's BBB Scam Tracker?
Yes, so you can find it at bbb.org/scam tracker. And when we put it out, so we usually have it out in March. So 2022's came out in March, but we also look at a lot of different things, demographics, impersonated companies. And we found that actually younger people are more susceptible to falling for scams than older people. And we started recently also researching just very little, but we're delving into it. People who are under age of 18, are they being targeted? And they are. And I think the reason why these younger people are more susceptible is because they may have grown up on the internet, or they're always on social media. Prevalent because it's really cost effective for the scammers to seem legitimate, get in front of your eyes, and it's a quick click. But again, it's not just your money. You have to be really careful about your personal information. And so I bring up the fact that everyone is susceptible to it because it's really a collective effort to not only protect yourselves, but your loved ones. And so we all have family and friends. And so it's also alerting them of the signs of scam and fraud attempts, so we can try to protect everyone in this effort.
Oh, that's good.
I just want to add, I agree with everything Barney and Jennifer have said, because they're not just after your money, they're after your personal information, your identity. With your identity, they can access more money, they can access more resources, and they can even sell that information forward for not that much, but it has ramifications. And in terms of older versus younger people, yes, obviously, people who are seniors normally have more resources, financial resources and assets than younger people do. But for the younger people, it may be years and years and years if their identity is stolen before anybody realizes it. So they're getting a time factor and a jump on other people in terms of stealing identity. One of the things that the Internal Revenue Service has been doing to help protect people's identities is offering people the opportunity to get their own identity protection PIN, just like a personal identification number. So it's a 6-digit number that you can apply for with the Internal Revenue Service, requesting that you get an identity protection PIN. And what that identity protection PIN allows you to do is to, like when you file your tax return, if you electronically file it, or even if you paper file your return, you can put your 6-digit identity protection PIN on your tax return, or if you electronically file, there's a place that they'll say, do you have an identity protection PIN? You can put the identity protection PIN in, and that way the Internal Revenue Service will know it's you, okay? That PIN, that 6-digit PIN changes every year. So you'll be notified by mail. You'll get a letter from the Internal Revenue Service each year talking about, like, this is your new identity protection PIN for 2023 or 2024. For younger people, one of the issues we've seen a lot of, and I think the last time I was here, we talked to several people who had grandchildren or children who had their children's identity stolen or compromised when they were filing a tax return. And you can request as a parent, like if you've got children who are under 18, you can request an identity protection PIN for your child as well. So you can help protect that child or that grandchild's information. If you are the one claiming them on the tax return, you can help protect their information by getting an identity protection PIN for them.
That's good stuff.
So
Identity protection PIN. And so
all of that information is on the Internal Revenue Service website.
okay.
And the IRS website is real easy to remember. It's just IRS, and then every government agency has the last 3 letters after the dot. So IRS dot, it's GOV for government. So it's like Social Security.gov. You know, so it's irs.gov. I do have some handouts that I brought, and there's some information on the information about identity theft that talks about the identity protection PIN. So.
Okay. I didn't forget about you.
So from our viewpoint and what we see, yes, the younger ones are indeed targeted more, but the older generation lose more money. So that's one difference that we see. The other thing that we see that probably is not going to apply to you all, but we see our victims as being socially isolated or lonely, where they are more homebound. So you all are out here learning, educating yourselves, having community with each other. But the ones that choose not to go out or choose to stay home most likely will fall victim at some time. So if you do have friends who choose not to participate in events like this, just keep an eye on them. If they say something that may be out of the norm, or they claim they've won the lottery, right? Maybe question them about it, or try to get a little more information. If you know their child or their children, maybe inform them to get them involved. So we see that. And the last thing is, I would say a little different, is cognitive decline. We have it. I'm not as sharp at my age that I was when I was 30. It just happens. We don't like to think it happens, but it does happen. So that's just another thing to be aware of with maybe not you, but friends who, again, stay home, don't get out, aren't continuously learning. I think that keeps our mind a little more active and sharp. So that's what I have to add.
Yeah, those are all good points. Okay, we had an audience question. I'm going to walk around with the microphone because we had some requests for that. So here you go.
Lisa is my granddaughter. At least I wish she was. I'd like to skip back a couple. I think the internet's like the Wild West today. And in any case, it's just flooding with spam and all kinds of issues. If you think you're being hip, is there somebody you could call at Better Business Bureau or the AARP and say, I think I'm being approached by somebody in a spam? Who could I complain to about?
Yes, I left some cards up here.
Great.
They're business type cards. On one side is a phone number. On the other side is a text number, if you think it's a scam. The thing is, and this is, I think, the easiest way to do it. I don't know if any of you or some of you have a freeze on your credit report. In Indiana, you can put a freeze on your credit report for no cost, and you can lift it at no cost. A freeze on your credit report means that Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax will not release any financial information about you unless whoever asks that gives them a PIN number that's unique to your account. So if you put a freeze on your credit report, even if somebody steals your social security number, which is what they'll need to get anything, they can't get any information from the credit bureau without that PIN number. So if you haven't put a freeze on your credit reports, I would strongly recommend you do that. Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Google them. They'll give you an 800 number. Now, in order to get that freeze, you're going to have to prove to them who you are, which means you're going to have to give them your social number and some other information, and you can read their website what they demand. But it works like a charm, because if your credit report is frozen, the only way anybody can get any information about you is to give the credit union that particular unique PIN number to you. And that's really the easiest way to protect yourself. Also against internet scams, same thing. They're going to eventually ask you for money or for a credit card or something. That's why, like the lady from Postal Service, don't let them steal your identity. But if you have a credit freeze, even if it's stolen, they still can't do anything. You have a question, sir?
Does the PIN change or stay with you?
It's permanent.
That's with the credit bureaus, but the IRS has a, you want to talk?
There's changes.
Yeah, the Internal Services Identity Protection PIN does change every year, but I do want to mention that I have a handout at the table, and it's also, I think, available online. It's called Identity Theft Information for Taxpayers. And in that publication, it lists the 3 different credit bureaus with their websites, as well as, I think, a phone number, a toll-free phone number. And I'm one that has had my identity compromised. I don't know if you remember, but, you know, I think they've stolen my stuff from Target. The Office of Management and Budget is the one that handles all of the personnel information for federal employees. They compromised that system a number of years ago, so I have protection from them. But the first thing I did, just as Barney said, is I went years ago and put freezes on my credit at all the credit bureaus just to make sure. And if I ever want to go, I don't know, buy a car or get a new credit card or something like that, I can go in, I can lift the credit. They'll say, I can lift the freeze. They'll say, how long do you want to lift it for? You can tell them, put your PIN in number, put your PIN number in, and it'll be all taken care of. It's quite easy.
Don't lose your PIN number
your
or
PIN.
you're in big trouble.
You
Yes.
are in big trouble.
Did you want to add something, Joe?
$9 or $10.
No,
It's not bad at all.
it's free.
Believe it or not, our legislature good.
In the state of Indiana, it's free to freeze your credit.
Freeze or to lift it. Either one in the state of Indiana is free. Other states, there is a charge. But in Indiana, you can put a freeze on your credit. You can lift it. My wife and I have done it because we trade cars. No charge. I don't know about Illinois or Ohio or Kentucky or anywhere else, but in Indiana, it's free.
Okay.
By whom? What did they charge you for?
Oh, the credit report. That's what it was. They will charge you for a credit report.
By
You think? Oh, okay.
by federal
Maybe
law.
we're scammed.
You were scammed. By federal law, they have to give you a free credit report annually. Now, if you go to freecreditreport.com, that's not U.S. government. That's a profit-making firm, and they will charge you, and that's it.
Yep.
You can. No, there's no charge in the state of Indiana.
Has it been free in the state of Indiana?
As far as I know, it's been on there as long as there's been a credit report freeze.
To have to prove, initially you used to have to prove you were a victim of identity theft originally to get it free, but that went away years and years and years ago. So you may have had one placed by a company that was not through one of the credit bureaus, and realize you got to place a freeze on each credit bureau. Yeah. So, so it most likely was a company that was not a credit bureau.
Yeah. And the thing is,
So, okay. That
if
makes
you go to
sense.
annualreport.com, you're going to get all three of them at one time. What my wife has done for several years is in January, she'll go to Equifax.com, get a credit report from them. 4 months later, she'll go to TransUnion.com. 4 months later, she'll go to the third one. That way, we're keeping a constant watch on what's going on our credit history. They're all free.
You've got a smart wife.
Yes, so I do. I've had her for 58 years. So, but don't use annualreport.com. Go to the actual creditbureau.com. They have to give you a free credit report annually. But if you stagger them once every 4 months, you can keep a continuous watch on what's going on in your credit history. And it's free.
That's good stuff. Okay. Do we have any other questions in the audience or online? We did have one person join on the phone I saw, and I just wanted to let you know, *6 on your phone if you have a question.
Could I quickly address back to the original
Yes,
question?
absolutely.
You can call at Better Business Bureau anytime if you're unsure of something or you need information on a business. We'd rather you call to verify and check than to make that decision on your own if you're not certain about it. And if we don't have the answers, we'll put you in touch with who can, because it might be the state attorney general's office, the FTC, the IRS, the Postal Inspector Service. And I would like to think it's the same reciprocity where call any one of us and to be better assured of what you're come across, and we put you in the right hands.
Okay. Did you guys want to add anything else to that original question from the audience? Okay. So what are the common scams? We've talked a little bit about them, but what are some of the common scams that, I mean, they're constantly changing, right? So like today, what are the most common scams that you guys see? Okay.
I'll take any mic. Okay. Again, I brought a handout about this, but I just want to tell you about the latest one that we've placed on our website, I think last week. You know, people are getting more and more sophisticated. So now the latest one we've seen is that they have these special mail service delivery like FedEx or even USPS, I think has done some of them, I'm not sure, but FedEx or some of the other services you normally pay for, they'll send one of those cardboard mailing envelopes to your address. So it'll be addressed to you at your address. And inside the envelope, there'll be a piece of paper that looks like the Internal Revenue Service. They call it a masthead. I don't know if it's our logo because I haven't seen one of these myself, but they said it'll say Internal Revenue Service. And in the letter, one of the first things you can look for to know that it's a scam is that although sometimes our notices are not readily understood in English per se, but they are usually fairly well written in regular English, right? Well, the language in this letter uses really confusing and odd language. So it sounds as if it's a little different, but it's asking for people they're saying that you have an unclaimed refund and they're going to help you get that refund. And in order to get that refund, they're asking you to send them copies Like they give you an email address or a website and also a phone number where they're asking you to send pictures of 4 different angles of your driver's license in your face, basically for photo ID. And then they're asking you to send the social security number, your bank account information, all kinds of things in order to help them get this refund for you. Obviously, that's a scam. We're not trying to do this, but if you look in the language in this letter, it's very, very poorly done. But, you know, like it's one of those scams that if you get it and they've gone to the trouble of putting everything in one of these mailers and it's addressed to you, a lot of people may just go through it very quickly and say, oh my gosh, what have I got to do? But they use the phrase unclaimed property as opposed to a refund. They also throw refund in there, but that's one that we've been seeing quite a bit of recently. So, and there's information about that.
It's kind of like the emails that you get that are like, my dearest one, somebody, and you know, like that language.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's funny you brought that up. We just got a link on it today to bring it to the attention. San Diego News ran an article on it. So I think for us, imposter scams, which Bernie touched on already, imposter scams could be anything from a family member in trouble to the local police department has a warrant for your arrest, to your utilities are going to be shut off. So it's all of those. Just remember, utilities, government, they don't accept gift cards. So that's one of the things they're going to ask you to run out and buy and provide them the numbers on the back of the card so they can wipe the card off. You know, we don't do that. We don't request that. Again, family members, verify that. I mean, if I say anything, verify. That's the thing you should walk out of here today. Stop, slow down, don't play on emotions, and verify what's being told to you, whether it's picking up the phone and calling that grandchild or their mother or father who they're telling you not to contact, or hanging up and calling your utility company, not the number that shows on your phone, but an actual phone number for your energy company or utilities. So those are, and we still see lottery scams. It's amazing to me. I've been in 20 years. I've dealt with lottery scams for 20 years, still dealing with lottery scams. And they evolve, but it's still the same concept. You won something that you never put your name in for. And in order to claim that prize, you have to pay us. So you either send them money, money order, check, give them access to your bank account. And I've seen it where they go in and they wipe out the entire bank account. So those are, I mean, it's the same, I think same things over and over. The criminals get a little more sophisticated, a little more technological, advanced than what we used to see, but it's still out there.
Adding to that technological advancement and where you see those grammar spelling errors, keep in mind with AI, artificial intelligence, and ChatGPT, scammers will have access to that to sound more legitimate. So even that you can't necessarily go off of solely because they're going to be improving their grammar and spelling in these attempts.
Do you guys know what ChatGPT is? Do you want to explain it?
So it's a platform that essentially you can put in a prompt. You can put in
ChatGPT. It stands for some
stands for something, and it's one of
GPT
different types of artificial intelligence where you can put in a prompt and it will quickly execute what you requested. So if a scammer wants to put in, I want to develop a letter to someone that they won a sweepstakes and they won this amount of money and this is the prize they get, it'll just in an instant almost just shoot that out that they can just copy and paste and use it in emails or messages or whatever it may be. So
you can type in anything you want. Like you could ask it math questions. You could ask it to write a letter to your significant other. You could ask it to write a biography about you. Like you just type in whatever you want and artificial intelligence spits out an answer.
You can, if your next vacation, if you want an itinerary, you can say, I want a 3-day itinerary of this location with these type of activities, and it'll spit it out for you. So it's very
Isn't
advanced.
that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, it's exciting in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But every time something new and exciting comes out, that for our benefit, it's also for the scammers' benefit. So it's one thing to watch out for. The risk report that I mentioned that we put out annually, it also breaks it down to older adults. And so we found like the top 3 scams that are older adults are more susceptible to falling for are online purchase scams. Online purchase scams has been the #1 riskiest scam for us for multiple years now, simply because it's so prevalent and everyone is on the internet or social media. Even employment scams for older adults, because it's very easy to using legitimate platforms to post jobs that seem authentic and to get you, or car wrapping scams and a whole slew of things with that. And then home improvement scams, because often you're trying to update your home that you're living in, especially if you're retired and you have the time to do that. One thing that has come up in the past couple of years that was never on our radar was cryptocurrency scams, which also kind of relates to investment scams. It's can be very confusing, just like this new AI stuff, and they monopolize on the fact that a lot of people don't really know the inner workings of it and use that to their advantage. So there's emergency scams that was mentioned, and there's romance scams. You know, we're talking about you might be isolated, you long for human interaction, and so you may come across an opportunity on an online dating site or whatever it may be, where you think you're speaking with someone that you really developed a relationship with. But soon enough, you will find out that they are down on their luck and they need some money. They're overseas, or excuses that they don't want to get on a video to chat with you. They'll take images of people online to pose it as themselves. We often work with the media. And so Kara Kenny is with WRTV, the ABC affiliate. She interviewed someone who was once a romance scammer who reformed himself to kind of talk about what it's like on the inside. And they actually have this manual, I brought it with me, of how to win over white women. So it talks about times a day that you want to talk with them, how to like turn the conversation so it's about them, to pickup lines to give them. So it's pretty organized on their end, that you just want to be really careful. And going back to verifying, anytime you're told to keep something a secret, I wouldn't keep it a secret. I would go and talk to someone you know and trust about it, especially if it's related to romance scams or any of this, because just having that sounding board can really make a difference to kind of put yourself out of the situation, get a third-party perspective on it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was thinking of something while you guys were talking, like this is a business for people. Scamming is that's how they make a living, especially like there's a handbook, like, wow, that's crazy.
One thing you got to remember, it's something your dad told you years ago. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. And we got to be skeptical. It's just like the lady from the post office said, verify, verify, verify. If you're not sure, hang up. Don't click on the link or whatever until you check it out with another phone number or a different email address to make sure it's legit. Because as this mentioned, this artificial intelligence thing is frightening, because they can pick up 3 or 4 words from a grandson, duplicate that voice, that inflection, the whole 9 yards, and you think it's really little Tommy, and he did get in trouble in Tijuana, and you got to bail him out by sending $1,000 to the something in Tijuana, Mexico. Once it leaves America, it's gone forever, period. So verify, verify, verify.
Oh, I was going to say something too about that. And they know when your grandson is in Tijuana. that can be tracked. Yeah.
Yeah. They monitor social media and stuff, so they can kind of gauge what's going on in your life. But I lost my train of thought. So no, that's all right.
So it's really important
No,
to keep your information private as
it
much
is
as possible.
very much. I mean, if you're on social media, limit it to friends and family who can see your information and keep it non-public. That's it for now, I guess. But go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to add, going back to the impersonation though, real quick. I'm going to reference this risk report a lot because it is so much information in it. But one of the things we also look at are the top impersonated companies. And number one was Amazon, not entirely surprising. But what I thought was really fascinating was that the Indiana Department of Workforce Development was number 10 on this list last year. That was the only state-related entity that was on this list. And last year we had a lot of reports of this back to work program. By going back to work, you're going to get money, and those sent through text messages and stuff. And then going back to Amazon, when a few years ago, if you recall, they were trying to locate a second headquarters, and they were looking at different places. Indianapolis was one of them. We saw that year, Amazon and employment scams were the number one, because scammers keep up with the times as well. They're looking at the news. How can they be more relevant, more believable? So there's a lot of scams being perpetrated about employment for Amazon that year. So being current with recent events is also helpful to you to also kind of be alert of, okay, what attempt might a scam take, what angle they might take based on the situation.
We have two audience questions. I'll get to you in 1 second. Oh, it's his birthday, by the way, guys.
Thanks. Well, thank you. That's why she's letting me talk more than I should be. I just relearned a lesson, a painful lesson. I was watching TV, saw an ad by Mike Huckabee for Nexium. I imagine many of you have heard that ad. And it was like, we'll send you a free sample. All you do is pay for mail, which was about $7. And I says, hey, that's cool. I could do that. And I'd like to try Nexium. If it works, I'll be very happy. Well, that was $7 charged, no problem at all. But 2 weeks later, I was billed for $280 for a 90-day supply of Nexium. Fortunately, I've been through a round like this before. Went to the bank, explained the situation, got a reversal from the company. But, you hear something on TV by somebody who you know or you think you know and respect and admire, $7, who's going to complain about $7 for postage in a sample? Check your bank account, because that was a pretty expensive charge. In the end, it didn't cost me anything except time. And that bothered me to have to run this problem down. So whether it's Mike Huckabee or I better stop there.
Oh, we've got another audience comment. I'm going to come around to that side. I was going to say banks are pretty good about reversing charges if you just go talk to them.
Yes, one of the points we want to raise. That gives you kind of a chance to, thank you. That gives you a chance to kind of listen to the voice, kind of assess it, but don't answer it because you're so used to it. And we say, you have permission. You don't have to answer your calls. Let go to voicemail. So you have to kind of break that habit, that circle of habit. So just wanted to throw that out.
Yeah. Okay. Both batteries are dying. I think I have some in the camera bag in that cabinet. Yeah, don't answer your phone. We were just talking about that earlier. Like, you just almost can't answer your phone unless you know the number. Yeah, I think they're in there. Mm-hmm.
number, even if you know the number, they spoof them now. So it can make it appear that it is someone that you know. Just the best thing, like you said, don't answer the phone, call them back.
Well, real quick, one thing we tell our children about stranger danger, same thing applies. If you don't know who it is, so you don't know who sent it to you, just keep your guard up about it.
Well, it's gotten to the point now where when our phone rings, if the caller ID doesn't come up with a name, not just a number, but a name and a number, it goes to the answering machine. If they want to talk to me, they'll leave a message. If they, 9 times out of 10, it's a click and that's it. And that's the other thing, it's like the deputy said, we were taught as kids to be very polite. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. And to end a conversation. If you get into a phone call like that, just hang up. So you're rude to them. Who cares? They were rude to you to call you to try and trick you. Just hang up. That's the easiest thing to do.
I'm going to trade you guys.
Okay.
Do a battery switch.
Okay.
Any more comments on that?
I think too, you might get people who want to try to play with the scammer that might call to mess around with them. I don't advise doing that because you're still letting them know that it's an active phone number, an active email, any of that. It's just best not to engage with them whatsoever.
Oh, yes. Yeah. My kids, if they're in the car and they'll say like, oh, let me do it. Let me do it. Like they want to joke with them. And I'm like, nope, just decline the call.
Some years ago, shortly after we had moved into a particular residence, I started getting phone calls from a collection office saying that asking for a certain person's name who apparently had previously lived there. And I would explain time and time again that that person didn't live there anymore. But the calls kept coming. And finally, they got me in a rather short-tempered frame of mind. And I said, don't give me any more calls. You keep calling in. We're not that person you're looking for, so stop calling. The person responded, listen, fella, says, I've got your social security number. And he rattled it off. I know where you live. And he gave that address. And I don't want to take any more guff, whatever. Anyway, that really shocked me that he had all that information because I didn't know any way that he could have possibly have gotten it from us. But fortunately, I knew a retired FBI agent who told me to contact this department in the state. I've forgotten now the name of it. Attorney General's office, maybe. And anyway, which I did. And they said, we'll take care of it. And so they went ahead and contacted, I had the phone number that the call had been coming from. So they called that person and they must have really done a job on that person because they've never called again since that time. And so it pays to look for help and from the proper people who will take care of these situations.
Yeah, I think you did the right thing by contacting somebody and asking them about it. Yes, sir. Hang on. Let me come over there. And you've got that microphone.
I'll answer your question in a minute, but you remind me of something. How many of you have your Social Security card in your purse or back pocket? Don't ever do that again.
Don't do that. Stop
I'll
doing
just
that.
be if they steal that, they have stolen your life.
Okay.
You don't
comment?
need your Social Security card, your Medicare card. You go to the doctor's office, they already have it.
Yeah.
Don't carry that Social Security card ever in your pocket.
Thank you. What do you do about, this is a great panel. I'm glad I came today. What do you do about recurring phone call or messages? I'm getting, like, I got almost daily, I have 99 notifications to call this website or whatever. This is a phone to me. I know it's a computer, but it's a phone first for me. I don't answer. I do what you guys say about that. I don't answer if it's not on my caller ID. And I get probably 20 a day. But what do you do about, I'll bring it up here. Phil, that's my name. You have 99 new notifications and it says HTTP and all this other gobbledygook, whatever that means. I've never clicked on it, but it's a pain in the butt to have to delete this thing daily. And then the second question is, I use CVS Pharmacy. I'm getting a whole string of alphabet stuff, and I'm qualified for a gift card if I answer questions and all that. How do I get out of that? That's true. I do business with CVS, but I have never clicked on that, but how do I get away from that?
I was going to say, that's probably not coming from CVS. That would be my guess. For cell phones, if it's a legitimate company, you can always go and you can go to the FTC and put your phone number in to be on the do not call list. Okay.
You have to update it?
You should not have
FTC.
to.
It doesn't stop scammers.
Exactly.
It only signs you up from not receiving sales calls. And as I also said, it doesn't stop scammers. So it's not 100% safeguard, but it is a good step in the right direction with that. And you can block calls.
I was going to say the other thing is you could block. You can go on, and if it's the same number over and over, you can go into your phone settings and block that number. It's blocked. Yeah. Yeah.
I've been told that when you get an email, you could look at the return address section and you could pretty much tell if that's a legitimate call or not. So that is valid then.
Our pastor
See that?
has sent, the pastor of our church has sent out emails, and then a couple of days later, we'll get an email with the correct email address from him saying, ignore that one, it wasn't from me. As far as these phone calls, like they say, you can get on the do not call list. All that does is block legitimate phone solicitors. The scammers,
They're already breaking the law, so they don't care.
they don't give a damn
Yeah.
because they're breaking the law anyway. So the easiest thing is just don't answer it, or on your phone. Now, I don't know about Androids. Mine is a iOS phone. Okay. When I click on a phone number, one of the options is block this caller.
Yeah.
You can block that caller. Problem is with technology today, they can go to a different number.
Yeah. I think we talked about this last year. They also call from familiar numbers. Some numbers look like your number, or they look like somebody's number in your contact in your contacts, like, you know, somebody that you call regularly. Isn't that crazy?
If the more you answer the phone or the more you make them know that it's a real live number, the more you're going to get. So it goes back to not answering. Just not answering.
Yeah. Any questions or other? Here we go. We got an audience question.
I just wanted to make a comment about every time there's something good that happens or is convenient for us in general, there are going to be a lot of negatives. This is true as a truism of life. And part of the problem with all this is the distress it causes us. And one option would be to do a lot of relaxation, try to accept the scammers for who they are and not feel so much distress, but do the practical things that we can do. And they are limited because with AI, they immediately get another number that's very similar to the number that they used previously. So you can block 100 numbers, you'll get 100 more calls. So until somebody comes up with a better method, feeling less distressed is up to us.
That's actually a really good point. Accept them for who they are, and just it's part of life. Yeah, yeah.
I do wish, though, that they put half the effort that they do into these scams into legitimate, trustworthy business. They would be successful and not scamming people of that. So that's a bigger problem to tackle. But
Absolutely. Okay, I'll check online to see if there's any questions too. Again, just type in your questions or unmute yourself or *6 on your phone if you're on your phone. We're going to go on to, we talked a lot about how can we protect ourselves from becoming a fraud or scam victim. If you want to add to that, we can, or we can go on to who do we trust when we need additional support with finances, mail, etc. We also talked about that, but do you guys want to add anything to those?
I just want to mention, when you're going online to give any personal information or even to purchase anything online, one of the things you want to make sure you're looking at in that browser on your computer or on the screen you're looking at, when you're looking at that URL, it should say HTTPS. The S is for secured, okay? So if you're making a purchase or if you want to look at something that is a secured website, that's really what you should be looking for, the HTTPS. And many financial institutions, places where you can electronically file your tax return, places where you're going, like the Social Security Administration, they're always going to have the S after the HTTP. And many of these same area organizations are really almost mandating what we call multi-factor authentication, which means that they're going to have you, say, well, you're going to have to say, I want either you to send me a code to my email address or my cell phone number. That's like a second level of protection for you. And the thing that I want to make sure people realize is when these platforms ask you if you want to use the multi-factor authentication, in some cases, you have the option to say no. I really recommend you never say no. You always say yes, because it's to your benefit that you use that multi-factor authentication, because the only way those codes are going to get given to somebody who should have legitimate access is if it comes to your email address or your cell phone number. Okay. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that. And I did just want to mention one other thing. And I know it's not technically what we're talking about, but in terms of people feeling isolated and alone, COVID did a great service to a lot of people who were already trending in that way. And there's still people who are afraid for legitimate reasons to go out because of compromised health or family members who have compromised health and other situations that are happening. But one of the things that we want to make sure, especially from a senior community standpoint, we all have friends and family members and members of our community, our church community, or other organizations we belong to, where you might see different behavior occurring in some of your friends. And a lot of the groups I work with are very concerned about spotting and reporting elder abuse or senior abuse. And this can be anything from mental and psychological abuse, as well as financial abuse and taking advantage of. And I did want to mention that there is a bookmark that I left up at the table, and I don't have it available online, but it's a bookmark that talks about what are the signs and what you should look for in terms of spotting symptoms of elder abuse and what you can do to help report it. Because we work with the Adult Protective Services here in Indiana and a lot of other organizations, including the Indiana Attorney General's Office and the Indiana Senior Medicare Patrol and other groups to try to get information about people who may be victims or have issues that we need to step in and help. So I just wanted to.
It's another resource that we're both involved in. It's called In Case.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the Indiana Coalition Against Senior Exploitation. And it's a bunch of different organizations that come together with the purpose of trying to prevent senior exploitation. And so they have their own website. It's another resource in all those different areas. And going back to the HTTPS, I will say, unfortunately, they scam that too. They use that to their advantage as well. So it's not a sure safeguard because you can go online and purchase it to have it. But another added measure to check, there's a website called whois.com, I believe. And you can put in the URL.
Like WHOIS.
Yes.
Okay.
And you can put in the website and it'll populate for you when the website was created, where it was created, information like that. Because often what we'll see is scammers will create a fake website recently. So let's say it was back last month out in a foreign country. It's a quick red flag that maybe it's not a legitimate website. Because also they're really good about making websites look legitimate. Yeah. They'll take logos from things, designs, photos, even in emails. Just yesterday, we got an email from Citibank saying there's a past due account and it looked legitimate. So but using whois.com as another resource to look up to see how recently was this website created and where was it created?
This is a full-time job for people. We had a question online from Bev. She said, if somebody calls, do we decline the call or just don't answer it? Just
Don't answer.
we don't have to, you know how on your cell phone you can decline?
Silent, so you don't have to hear it.
Yeah. Okay. So instead of just letting it ring and ring and ring you have a volume button on the side of your phone, just hit the down button and it won't ring and ring and ring. But
go ahead. If you hit decline, that tells them it's a legit number. So I would just hit silent, let it just continue to play out. And then maybe they go away. Maybe.
yeah, that's good. Okay. So Bev, did you get that? Just let it hit the volume down button so you don't have to listen to it, but it's better to just let it ring. Okay.
Before we leave, I want to make 2 points. How many of you write checks, put it in the mailbox and put the flag up? Don't ever do that. There are people who go around looking for mailboxes with the flag up. They open up the box, take the envelope out, steal the check, and wash it. By washing it, I mean they have chemicals that can take away everything but your signature. And then instead of being made out to Indianapolis Power and Light Company for $27, it's made out to Joe Buplup for $3,700. The bank's going to cash it because it has your signature. What I strongly recommend you do, go to CVS, Walgreens, Costco, somewhere, buy a gel pen. When we were kids, we used to call it indelible ink. But a gel pen, you cannot wash it. So when you fill out a check, use a gel pen. They can't change the check.
Okay.
Don't leave checks in a mailbox. Take the check and the envelope and put it in a mailbox on the floor that's at the corner, or take it to the post office. Don't leave outgoing checks in your mailbox and hope the mailman picks it up. He may, but there are people and they go around looking for mailbox with flag up. The condo development we live in, our mailboxes are all out on a post on the street. And I see flags up all the time, and I want to remind these people, you're asking for trouble. Write your checks with indelible ink or ink that can't be traced or washed, a gel pen, and don't take them to the post office or the corner mailbox. Don't leave them in your personal house mailbox.
I'll piggyback on that. So technology, as we've already been saying is advanced. So what we've been seeing within the Postal Inspection Service is they don't have to wash the check anymore. All they need are the numbers on the bottom of your check, and they reprint. Okay. So they have printers set up. They have the check stock. They know how to, it doesn't even have to be a great copy. They can do that. You can deposit it remotely with the phone, and then they go and they get it, take it out of the account instantly. So with that being said, I got to be careful how I say. The flag on the mailbox is an indicator for thieves, that there's something in there possibly of value. Just know that. I would use a collection box, which are what we call our blue collection boxes, during working hours. Well, yeah, I got to be careful, but I'm just saying, use them during working hours where it'll say on their last pickup time, 6 p.m. Don't drop it after 6 p.m. until the next morning, because that box is out there. It's no different than leaving your home unlocked. I mean, it's no different than leaving it in your personal mailbox. If there is a scammer, thief, they'll find a way. They'll find a way. That's what I'll say. I say the most secure thing to do is take your mail directly into the post office and drop it there. Hand it to a clerk, put it in one of our receptacles in the post office. A lot of our post offices are 24-hour lobbies. So it's a matter of being inconvenienced to protect yourself. So that's just a couple warnings. The other thing I'll say, if we're going to talk post office stuff, counterfeit stamps, crazy right now, crazy. You can go on Amazon and you can buy stamps 50 cents on the dollar. You can go to the new company, Temu, buy stamps 50 cents on the dollar. You can Google stamps, and there's going to be all kinds coming up discounted. Just know, post office, we don't sell discounted stamps, period. So if you're seeing stamps out there for 50 cents on the dollar, they're counterfeit and someone's trying to get your money. We have processes in our post offices that will detect those. So most likely if you're using them, you're going to get your mail returned to you, postage due. So just be aware of that. I think most companies, we do not discount. We just do not discount. So be aware of that. It's going crazy right now. So no matter, we have teams working on this at our headquarters, and no matter how much time we put on it, they're out there. So
it's like they're 1 or 2 steps ahead of
yeah, I mean,
the technology and you know, with the invention of things also like Chat GPT, but also Canva. We use Canva a lot for our marketing, social media posts and everything, but you talked about, you know, cropping logos and images and they look real, and depositing checks with your phone. They don't have to be perfect. Like I deposited a check and mistook the picture and it was like all lopsided, still went through. I'm like, oh, okay, well, you know, it worked. Yeah. So technology is great. And also it comes with drawbacks. Yeah. Okay. Question check. Anybody? Questions, comments? Yes, Mr. Joe. Yes. Does the IRS still plan to hire 7,000 more agents?
Okay. When we said we were going to hire up to 8,000, between 6,000 and 8,000 people, we were never going to hire that many what we call revenue agents. Revenue agents are special employees of the Internal Revenue Service that work to audit and review returns that are filed, both personal, individual returns and business returns, okay? So we were never going to hire 6,000 to 8,000 agents, okay? We are hiring, and we have so far hired about 4,000 people. A lot of those people have been hired for our submission processing area and for other areas of the Internal Revenue Service. I want to just mention that I don't carry a gun. The only people with the Internal Revenue Service who do carry guns, because that's another bit of misinformation that's out there, are we do have criminal investigation folks who are authorized and often carry weapons. We also have other special task force people that are entitled to be protected, and they are required to take training and have access to firearms. But we are not hiring 8,000 agents.
I'll just speak on the fact, because I work with IRS criminal investigators. Since I'm a criminal investigator, we do joint investigations. For them to have, they don't have easy access to your all's information. I'll just throw that out there. It's so protected, and they have to jump through so many hoops. And even with me working with them, they're limited on what they can share with me. So I mean, if I can just put you at ease there, I think that was a story the media picked up on and ran with. And I'm our PIO, Public Information Officer for the Inspection Service. And I take about 50% of what the media say is truth.
Yeah. Generally speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true. Anything else?
I just want to mention one other thing in terms of keeping yourself safe and in terms of protecting payments that you're making. So I'm not going to talk about where to put the checks or how to do things, but you do, if you're comfortable doing things online, there's you can actually set up your own online account with the Internal Revenue Service using I think the Social Security Administration uses this platform as well. It's called ID, like
Oh yeah, I have
ID
that.
me.
ID.me.
ID.me.
Yeah.
So if you set up your Social Security account, like recently, you'll have to use that. But the Internal Revenue Service has that ability as well. And especially if you're going to get an identity protection PIN, or you want to make direct payments, if you're making estimated payments to the Internal Revenue Service, you don't have to do it via mail. You're more than welcome to, but if you like, you can make them directly using that ID me service and using your own IRS account number. And if you do get an identity protection PIN, you can, if you think you're going to forget that number, because Lord knows there's only so much that we can put in our heads, you can always go online to your IRS account and check and verify your identity protection PIN. So that's one thing. The other thing, if you are sending checks, especially for estimated payments, or when you file your tax return, if you do owe money to the Internal Revenue Service or the Indiana Department of Revenue or anybody else, one of the things that we've been seeing for years is that many times people would make their payments payable to IRS. They didn't want to write out Internal Revenue Service. Well, the next time you write IRS, just take a look at that. It's very easy to alter that to MRS, and then you can put a name afterwards.
Oh, wow.
And so we had a lot of that. It wasn't so much, I mean, I'd like to say every employee of the Internal Revenue Service and everybody that we work with is 100% honest, but it's even been known in the past that people would have taken checks that are received at, banks or even at the IRS service centers. And it's very easy for them to take those checks made out like to IRS and just alter them. So it's easily changed to put it into somebody else's account. So if you look at all of the information from the Internal Revenue Service, you actually read it, which is asking a lot. It'll tell you that we want you to make your checks payable to the U.S. Treasury Department, or you can spell out Internal Revenue Service. But that way, if you make it payable to the U.S. Treasury Department or write out Internal Revenue Service, it's not as easy to alter that check. So just
very good points. That site that she's talking about, it's the letter I and then D and then a dot, like a period mark, and then me, M-E, ID.me.
Right.
No, it doesn't matter.
ID, yeah, it shouldn't matter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it'll do like a double authentication process, and you can use it to sign into government sites. I use it to sign into my veterans account at the VA hospital. And yeah, it'll text you a code, and then you have to put the code in. Do you have something, Miranda? I'm getting my steps in.
So one thing not mentioned yet is that with your financial advisor that you work with, you can indicate a trusted contact person that can be listed on your account as well. So if your financial advisor sees activity that they suspect may mean that you're being the target of a scam, then they can contact your trusted contact person only in very limited circumstances to try to figure out if you have been exploited, if you have maybe been subject to identity theft, if your cognitive capacity is starting to decline. So sometimes as an elder law attorney, I am sometimes contacted by the elder child, the adult children who say the financial advisor contacted me and said there were some things going on, and we looked into it and we realized mom was being scammed. And so that's the start of the process of trying to figure out how to protect them better.
You can do that for your accountant or your financial advisor through the IRS site and in time. And yeah, I've got my accountant, but even then, sometimes they send the code to me and I have to give them the code. Yeah. Okay.
It's in regard to this IRS and identity theft. Most of us have grandchildren. These scammers will steal the identity of a child at 2 or 3 years old. They'll use it for the next 18 years. Junior gets out of college. He goes to open up a credit account. He's got terrible credit. He didn't even know it. But for the last 18 years, somebody's been using his Social Security number to get credit cards in his name, and nobody even knew it.
What about if somebody passes? Is that a thing? To use a deceased person's information?
Well, what I'm going to get at is if you have grandchildren, have them put a freeze on the kid's credit report, even a 2-year-old. If they don't want to do that, at least have them go to annual credit report and find out, get a current credit report, see if there's been any activity. A 2-year-old kid does not need an American Express card.
And just make sure if they're doing that, they're putting that password and that code, the 6-digit code that they have with their birth certificate, so they can find it in 18 years, you know, because they're gonna, yeah, it'll cause problems. But
I have seized.
I have to be careful because I don't work for the Social Security Administration, but I do want to let you know that if people are the victims of identity theft, sometimes the situation is so bad, the number has been compromised so much that there are extreme circumstances under which the Social Security Administration will issue a new Social Security number to people. And there have been cases where there were juveniles who had their number compromised over a number of years, where once it was finally identified and people tried to deal with it, they ended up having to totally reissue the Social Security number for those people. I've had it happen in situations I've been involved with for juveniles as well as just regular adults where they've been the victim of identity theft. And the other thing I want you to know, don't freak out about this, but the Social Security Administration also at a certain point recycles their Social Security numbers. So, I mean, you and I are probably not going to be alive when they try to recycle mine or yours, but they do recycle Social Security numbers at certain points.
Interesting.
So yeah.
Well, there's only so many combinations.
There,
Of the,
I mean, there are a lot of combinations.
yeah.
A lot of combinations, but they do have the ability to recycle and reassign Social
Interesting.
Security numbers.
Okay, panelist, I'm going to walk over to this audience member, and while I'm doing that, give us your best piece of advice you can leave us with.
For me, it's don't believe everything you read and hear, because earlier talking about impersonated advertisements, same with AI, even just commercials you see on TV, they're paying for that spot. Doesn't mean that they are a good business or legitimate per se. To do a shameless plug for BBB, what we do is we vet businesses and charities. And it's not a situation where a business can just sign up and pay and they become accredited and they get a letter grade. There is an actual vetting process, and it's voted on by local board members that are made up of local businessmen and women who can assign that accreditation, and they can also revoke it if those standards are not met. So we like to say, look for that sign of a better business. It's going to be the BBB seal. It'll say accredited business or accredited charity. It's showcases the letter grades showcases their likelihood to interact with you as a customer. But certainly we do our due diligence. We don't play favorites with anyone. We are middle ground. We're here to serve both sides equally.
Sure. Okay. Audience question.
Yeah, I was told several years ago by a fraud prevention speaker to just freeze my Social Security number, which I did. It was real easy. Why doesn't everybody just do that?
Is that different than freezing your credit? Oh.
So probably, I'm going to say 8 to 10 years ago, people were going on, maybe even sooner than that. People were going online, taking your Social Security number, opening up an account, online account with Social Security, and then they were changing where Social Security payments went. So they were diverting them into their checking. They were still in your checking, Social Security check. Social Security is advanced, as we all have. And now they recommend that you go on, they recommend one of two things. They like you to set up your online account yourself. If you've already frozen your Social Security number, you'll have to go in person to do that, or keep it frozen so people don't have access. It pretty much prevents a criminal from contacting them and getting your benefits. That's the gist of it. I froze mine years and years ago, and about 4 years ago, I knew I was going to retire soon. So I went in, set up my online account so that now I have access through everything online through Social Security. If you have it frozen and you have no need to have that online account, you're fine. If you want access to the online Social Security account regarding your benefits to see statements or whatever, you'll have to go in, take ID to prove it's you, and you'll have it set up that way. So it's not bad having it frozen. It just prevents, they were having a lot of theft of benefit payments.
Oh, yes, ma'am. I'll repeat it. Is that going to, if her Social Security number is frozen, is it going to cause a problem for her heirs? With me not working for Social Security and not knowing if it's going to create any issues, my thought would be no,
because they're going to have to prove they're your heir, and they're going to have to go forward with
A death certificate.
a death
yeah.
certificate and your will and all of that. So my guess is no, but you can always contact Social Security and ask them if it's going to create any kind of issue.
Yeah, that's a good question. We have two in the room. There you go.
I would suggest you contact a lawyer who deals in elder care. They know all the information about that.
Perfect. Okay, so we're on your best piece of advice that you're leaving us with, because it's already 11:26. We flew through that 90 minutes.
Best piece I can give you is remember what your mom and dad told you when you were a kid. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. The other thing is we all travel a lot. My wife and I just got back Monday from 14 days in Scotland, visiting our granddaughter. We do not stop the mail. We have a neighbor pick the mail up for us. We did stop the newspaper. But when you leave for an extended period of time, if you stop all these services, people begin to know. Have a trusted neighbor pick up your mail or your newspaper. That way nobody knows you're gone.
Yeah,
The
that's
other
a fun
thing
thing
is-
to hire a neighbor kid for, a neighborhood kid for. Yeah.
The other thing is I've got 4 or 5 timers that I can set to special for different times. And I plug them into lamps all through our apartment, our condo. So they go on at weird hours all through
To look like somebody's
it
home.
looks like somebody's home. If you leave home over for the evening, we turn a radio on. Leave a radio on. So there's voice coming out of the apartment.
Yeah.
Say again?
What do your neighbors think of that?
I don't leave it that loud. Just so if somebody comes up to the door for nefarious purposes, I hear voices in there. I better not go in.
Yeah, that's good. I just have 2 German shepherds. That's my security. Nobody's coming in.
I already spoke on this, but one thing I did want to add related to identity theft. There's another resource, identitytheft.gov, G-O-V. So if you think your identity has been compromised, or you want preventative tips, it's another great resources.
Identitytheft.gov. And Sarah's putting all of these websites that we talk about in the chat box of the Zoom video.
I just want to leave you with one thought. You all have agency. If you want to try to take some stress out of your life, as people have said, there's no need to answer that phone if you don't recognize the number. I do that now. I don't answer the phone unless I know it's somebody I know, and it's made my life so much more stress-free. So just give yourself the grace just to not to do that. And if they want to talk to you, they'll leave a message. If not, too bad.
Absolutely.
And mine, I've already said it, but just verify, slow down, and don't act on emotion. That's what the scammers are hoping for, is that they get you amped up, I guess, and they make it critical sounding where you have to act now.
Mm-hmm.
So just slow down and don't act.
Yeah, I've got a friend who works for the FBI, and I know these panelists will agree. Some of the smartest, most intelligent people are the ones who get scammed, who fall for this stuff. So it's not just, you're so gullible and, so a lot of time, I think we talked about this last year, a lot of times people don't mention it to other people because they feel ashamed that they fell for it. And I would be remiss to say, looking at Heather reminded me of this. So in real estate, in terms of fraud, wire fraud is big. Don't give people your wiring instructions over the phone, do it in person. But also there are lots of companies and investors investors and companies who will buy your house. I'm sure you've gotten mail. We buy ugly houses, you know, all of that. We have a major shortage of real estate inventory. It's nationwide. You will leave thousands, hundreds of thousands in some cases of dollars on the table if you do not list with a professional real estate agent and put your house on the market for all eyeballs to see. Don't sell directly to an investor. We share a client at Marquette, and they left probably, we tracked the numbers, and Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong, it was maybe a year ago, it was about $75,000 that you'll leave on the table if you just sell directly outright to an investor and not list your house on the market for everyone to see. So that's not a scam necessarily. I mean, I guess it could be, but it was in this particular case, it actually, I would consider it a scam because seniors are on a strict budget. And so every dollar matters. And if an investor comes in and buys your home, a good investor is going to be really tight with their numbers. They're going to be really good with their numbers. So they're going to lowball you. And they might only put a couple of dollars into the house and flip it, and you'll see it 20 days later on the market for $100,000 more than they bought it from you for. So it happens every single day. Okay, last question. Anything, last opportunity for questions? We went a little bit over, it's 2 minutes. So if you got to go, that's fine. We're going to do some drawings for Stacy Bones from ClearCaptions. She always brings the basket in full of goodies. And then we've got some roses to take home. And then we'll wrap it up. Don't forget to come and visit Sarah. She's got some handouts from our panelists. And then our sponsors have some actually amazing handouts. One of our sponsors is a published author. If you didn't hear last month, Dave's got a good book over there. So grab that. We have pill boxes. I know I want a pill box. Sarah took it back, so I need to come out and get it. I lost mine. All right, so for Stacy's basket, let's see here. Oh, you guys should do the drawings. Barney, you want to draw? Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. I like Barney. Oh, this is, oh, no, it's not. I thought it was blank. Dottie Renner. You need to buy lottery tickets or something. Don't you win every month? Let's give away a few roses. Risa Stockton. Where's Risa? There she is. You get a rose and you get a rose. Another rose. Phyllis Lauder. Oh, I think Phyllis left already. Well, oh no, there you are. I was thinking that was them. I know faces, and sometimes I just get the names mixed up. Bye, guys. Bye, ladies. Thank you. And then Kathy Prusak. Where's Kathy? You can have the rose on your table. We'll do one more because I think we have one more. Cynthia, there you go. All right. Thank you so much, sponsors. Thank you, panelists. We went over, so we got two busy ladies that had to go, but you have all their contact information on your handouts. Please give us feedback too.